everybody. I am Joy of the Garden and Home with my wonderful guest at Healy Beans. Hi, Healy. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
All right. All right. Let's get the technicalities out of the way. If you're catching us live or on the replay, please make sure to leave that like, leave a comment, whether in the chat or just at the bottom, wherever. If you have any questions, please leave that also, and we'll either get to it now or in the future. And if you ever want to be a guest, my info, my email is at the bottom there, scrolling. I'll put that up now and other times of the chat. Oh, the propane guy just walked by.
Oh,
That was not scheduled, so I'm all like concerned now. Great, because the dog is usually put away when this happens. So
you might have to,
yeah,
you might have to go do that. We because
right.
we want the propane guy to be able to do his job.
Yes. And also I will put up Healy's stuff now and later so that you can connect with her if you want to. All right, I think that's the spiel for the beginning. I always forget that Healy usually fills in on, but I did good this time, I think.
I try, I gotta try to do a little something.
Yeah.
Now I sent you a chat.
No, a chat. Ooh.
I did. I sent you a chat. Now y'all know we got the zoom and crop and we do behind the scenes stuff, as the live stream is going. So
I see us on my phone, so it's working as far as that's concerned. I don't know about you.
Maybe I need to update, or refresh or something. Cause why is it telling me? And it is past 10:30. It still say waiting. Hold on. Now, okay, I got it. You know what? Maybe I tuned in too soon and then I just had to refresh.
Oh yeah, sometimes.
That might be okay. All right, Joy. So what is our topic today? Let the people know.
So I titled it I titled it Gripes of Gardening or Griping in the Garden, something. I don't remember. But basically, it's time to vent. I am already tired. I am already exhausted. I am already fed up. And I hear the dog barking. Now, a lot of us gardeners, we're a little bit on the introverted side. We like to keep things, we like to do our gardening solo. We like it a certain way. And so whether we have social media or not, we don't tend to show the bad side of things either. Uh-oh. Is he running?
Uh-oh. If you see him running and you see your dog behind him, that might not be a good sign.
No, the dog's not. No, dog's going. Ah, crap. Healy, you take over for a bit.
All right, so y'all, let me fill in right quick. So we are talking about gardening gripes. Now we have just entered the month of June, so happy June for everyone. And for almost all of us, if not all of us, we have at least started something. Some of us are even harvesting already at this point in June. Some of us are just doing starts. Some of us are transplanting seedlings into their permanent growing homes. So we have various stages of gardening, but at least we have done something. Now, with that, what is it that has maybe not had us in the best place in our gardening? Today we're going to talk about a few factors that may be the reason for some gardening gripes. So we're going to talk about time, we're going to talk about weather, we're going to talk about structures, we're going to talk about pests and diseases, and then like some miscellaneous. Money might also be a reason why we have something to gripe about for this gardening season. So that's kind of the topics that we're going to hit on. If you have additional like categories or reasons for gardening gripes, please put them in the chat. Please let us know. And with that, Joy is going to get us started with the first gardening gripe, which is time.
Yes. Oh, let me catch my breath. All right. So my thought process was, so there's never any time. Now you in particular, you work a full-time job. You barely have, hey, David, how are you? So, okay, you work a full-time job. I'm a stay-at-home mom, but that's a full-time job in itself, honestly.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Definitely. Please, that's more than full time.
It's yeah, it's like you really don't get any time off when you're a mom. But anyway, enough of that. So yeah, whether you're starting your seedlings in the deepest part of the winter because you need to get them out the first part of spring, or I'm still exhausted.
Wait, hold on. Did you have to chase the dog? Just
No,
y'all, let's have a pause right quick. So what happened when you went outside, Joy?
Oh, the dog like ran around the house and so was by the door when I saw her. So she just came in. But I had to run to the truck because I didn't want the driver to leave and like not deliver the propane.
Oh, he was already on his way out?
Well, he was in the truck. He was making a phone call. So I was like, oh no. So I had to run to that. And it's a hill both ways. So I had to go uphill.
Yes, indeed. Uphill both ways. Now that sounds like a story, Joy. But we believe you.
All right. So for me, I'm, having to start stuff early. Oh, and we broke it up. Whoa. Oh, sorry. I got this.
We got some technology going on over there, Joy. Well, girl, go ahead and get it. Because look, I'm zooming back. I'm trying to be all over it. Go out. I can manually, lean forward. But I'm a lean back. A lean back.
So yeah, I got a new stupid camera. Oh God. No, come on. This was working when I was testing it out.
Well, you know what? While she's doing that, I'm going to tell you my deal with time. So I'm in Southern California, zone 10B/11A. And time itself is on my side because I can plant almost anything, almost anytime. Now, that's a general statement. Of course, there are some groups of crops, groups of plants, like leafy greens, lettuces, spinaches, things that prefer cool weather. So normally I wouldn't say, these first few days of June that I would be sowing spinach and lettuce seeds, even though I did because I'm always going out the box. But time is on my side as far as my growing season. It is pretty much 12 months. However, for me specifically this year, time has not been on my side because instead of focusing on sowing my seeds and getting my seedlings where they're supposed to be and all of that kind of stuff, I have been focusing more on adding fruit trees to my garden. So I would call it, I don't know, I probably would call it like a concrete orchard just because the majority of my fruit trees are in pots and they are on my patio. So if you have watched any of my gardening videos before, you're familiar with patio row and you're familiar with some of the trees that I have, all in plastic containers on plant caddies. But I have focused so much time on that I kind of missed the ideal time for planting my seeds. And I do more direct sow or sowing by seeds than buying seedlings or transplants. And when I finally did get to it, I was way late. Y'all know I'm also working on beautification of my backyard shenanigans garden. And so focusing on that, doing on that, there's always more to do than time allowed. The time has kind of passed for me getting my regular normal garden going. I did sow seeds an initial round, probably like almost the end of April. And y'all, I think I sold 144 seed cell trays, and maybe I don't even know if 35 or 40 things are still alive from that batch. So just last week I sold 48 more cells, about 44 different seeds, varieties, plants. And I just checked like right before this live stream, y'all. I did that 7 to 10 days ago. I can't remember exactly, but I saw one I saw one plant, y'all, creeping up from the soil. Yeah, time. I'm griping about time. All right, Joy, tell us about your time.
All right. Now, I think I've collected myself now. So let's see, my main obstacle in the wintertime is because I do a seedling sale in the spring. So a lot of my time that I normally would, have for just my garden is spent on other people's garden pretty much. So that does eat away a lot. But at the same time, that gets me through the blues of winter. That really that's the main thing that keeps my sanity, is having all those plants to babysit. Because I don't want to babysit the people. I just want to babysit the quiet plants that don't talk back. And
that's right.
They leave messes too, but it's easier to clean. Yeah, and even though we're talking like time, right? For the whole chat, we're just doing time at this moment, but it's all the other chapters or whatever you want to call it are they overlap. It's not just because they overlap. So we'll be going back and forth with the other subjects. And then there's the time that you never have enough for yourself or for your family. Not necessarily not spending that time with them, even though, yeah, I'm outside. I'm not inside. I'm cooking dinner late. I'm washing laundry in the middle of the night because I don't want to do laundry during prime gardening hours.
And that's true. And speaking of time, though, when you're gardening, whether you're doing stuff inside or whether you're doing stuff outside, there is a prime and optimum time frame for gardening. Now, I'm not the one. I think I seen David Corey do this a lot of times. I seen probably Brooke Farmer. I seen other people. Y'all go outside at nighttime with y'all flashlight and you do stuff and you be checking for the bugs and you gardening and some stuff. See, at nighttime, because y'all know the bugs come out at night. The bugs come out at night. And he'll be inside. But you don't play with them bugs. So, but usually, X amount of hours, daytime is like the optimum time for gardening. And if you're outside doing gardening things, or even if you're in your basement or you're in your, inside growing space, that time you're doing gardening. Now, I guess you could like kind of set up the washing machine and then do the gardening or set up the dishwasher and did it. But normally, y'all, I'm about to tell you, when I'm gardening and I do all my stuff outside. And if you think I'm gonna run in and out back and forth, so I'm griping about time management now, because we gotta talk some solutions too. We gotta talk some solutions. Time management. I could try to schedule my day, a little better and see where I hate to say wasted time, but see where I have available time.
Yeah.
Where I could better plan, okay, I'm going to do the garden this time frame. That's another thing too. I go outside of my garden. Oh, I'm just going to do this one thing. It on 15 minutes tops. Yep. I'm done. And 4 hours later, I'm still outside, looking like I had 6 tans. That's how long I was out. I got 6 whole full tans. Because 15 minutes turns into 3 hours.
Right.
But time management, I'm guilty. That's something that I can improve on. Will it happen this gardening year? Probably not.
Right. Not for me either, because I've grown more than ever this year, even though you're supposed to concentrate on your staples this year for some reason, but whatever for that. I really have tried to hone in on making my lists. I've always been a list maker, paper and pencil for me. But so I have like a master list that's ever growing. And then every day I try to just write down a couple of this is what I'm doing today. I really want to get these 3-4 things and that's it. We tried to make it be that's it. I've tried really hard to be good at that. So for me, list making and just really prioritizing daily from the main list to a smaller list. And then I feel good because I finished something. and it's June. There are a lot of things to be finished like yesterday for the garden.
That's true. Now, let's see. You Grow Rose says, I know the feeling 1 minute turns into 1 hour. Can't tell you how much food I burnt. Saying I'm stepping in the garden for a minute. You know what? That's when you know to come back inside. When you smell something, like, you know what? I know my neighbor not barbecuing, but something's smelling a little. I smell it. And then Chris Donovan says, my gripe with time is trying to figure out when to plant or start seedlings. Some channels are inspiring, but because they're in a different zone, you need to translate to the demands of your zone. And Chris, you know what? You hit that right on the head. For Joy and I, like, Joy is in New York. She's in zone 6. I'm in California. I'm in zone 10. 2 totally different zones, 2 totally different sides of the country. Microclimates, like, you couldn't get more different almost, you know, than what we are. And so we share our gardening timelines and everything, you know, from our different perspectives. But I'll tell you this, knowing your own zone where you are, and not just your zone, your microclimate, tracking your weather patterns, even if it's generally, even if you just open up your weather app or whatever and just look at it for the week. And if it says, okay, hey, it'll be dry Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, overcast on Thursday, and raining Friday and Saturday, that gives you an idea of, you know, what you can do when. Certain days or certain weather patterns, certain time frames, you might want to be inside, you know, planning, like Joy said, grabbing up the paper and the pen and kind of writing out and planning what you're going to do. Then you have, you know, those days, okay, hey, I can start direct sowing or getting my seed trays and stuff together. And then on those rainy days, instead of you know, using the money for the water bill, you know, you can have your seeds and stuff outside and getting some of that free water, you know, to do watering. So I listen to and watch a lot of different YouTube channels, gardening from all different zones, all different everything. But you're right. You have to know and be familiar with your own zone. And even though I listen and I watch everybody, I most closely take recommendations or suggestions from people that live, you know, in a similar zone or microclimate or climate, you know, or area. So you're right. The time is good. But even to me, above your zone, people say knowing like your first and last frost date, that'll also help you, because even though Joy and I are in totally different zones, we both can say, you know, 6 weeks before your frost date, your last frost date or whatever, plant this, and this. You know, wait until 3 weeks after your last frost date to begin working on this. It may be different months or weeks for us, but that time frame, X amount of days or weeks before, you know, the frost date, X amount of days or weeks after the last frost date. That's how we can, you know, kind of follow the similar guidelines, but you know, make it for our own areas. So I know that was a lot, but appreciate it. Now see, look, and Chris is in New York, so you are more likely to, you know, kind of be able to follow what Joy is doing. But it looks like a little bit, because you're in zone 6, right, Joy?
Yeah.
And
he
Chris
might be
is
on
in
like
zone
the island.
7, so he
sounds like he might be on the island. What was I gonna say? And yeah, even your microclimates you were mentioning, like some flowering things at the bottom of the hill might be flowering before the ones on top of the hill, or my flowers on the next to the driveway are gonna start up before my flowers like closer to the woods or something. So that also plays a part in it, what's gonna grow when. And I do like I watch certain channels like in the zone 7B8, and when they do their lists of like things you must do now, it kind of stresses me out, because it's like, I know I'm supposed to be doing stuff,
but there's still snow. I still can see my head on. I can. Now, David says start your seeds 6 weeks before your spring date. So that's, kind of an example of a time frame. So whenever your, date is, then you count backwards and then that's what you will start. And he says, yeah, everybody's zone change. Yeah, the USDA, I believe this was in 2024.
Yeah, early.
I believe 2024. And most zones, not all of them, but most zones went a half of step warmer.
Yeah.
So my area was in zone 10B, now it's in zone 11A. So the difference between the numbers, so like between 7 and 8 is 10 degrees. Between 7A and 7B is 5 degrees. So it seems like most, not all, but most areas got like a 5-degree warmer bump. And that's how their zones changed. You did have some that stayed the same though, because I looked at the whole thing, but I didn't notice any that got cooler. There may be some, but I didn't notice. I don't think I noticed any that got cooler, but I probably wasn't looking because I don't like cold weather. So I'm allergic to even looking at cool weather charts or whatever. So I want to so we talked about time, and this kind of goes straight into it because we already been talking about it.
Yeah.
So weather, y'all put in a chat, what are your weather gripes for this year specifically? Not the past few years. So I'm gonna tell y'all 2022 is the year when my weather gripes started. And they changed everything else. But Joy, tell us what weather gripes do you have?
I just had one from last night. So I have a couple of bags of soil that, bagged soil from the supermarket, wherever, sitting in my grass because they're so heavy. But they've also been getting rained on all these weeks. But slowly and surely I've been using them up. So yesterday it was beautiful, sunny, perfect breeze. So I was like, all right, I'm going to open up one of these bags. I'm going to air it out because it's so heavy and, it's probably just anaerobic in there. I got to air this out. So I took a bag, I put it in one of the carts, opened it all up. I looked at the weather. I did. And it said 5% chance of precipitation. I'm like, all right, that usually just means like, it'll be 5%. Nothing.
That's nothing.
I go to bed. I wake up, like 11-ish. I end up sleeping with my kids because I read them a story and I fall asleep kind of thing. I wake up and I hear heavy rain. Heavy freaking rain. I'm like,
wow. Now, had you opened the bag?
Oh, yeah. I was airing it out. I was trying to dry it out.
Yeah. Oh.
It went from almost 0% rain to 100% rain. And so now all my work of, I had to lift it. It's heavy. I had to drag it up the driveway. It was at the bottom of the driveway. So all that, and now it's even soupier than it was before. So I hate the weather. I hate it.
You know what? Speaking of soupy, this is a quick side note. As you know, Joy started the 2025 Rice Challenge. That's in April, in March or April. Y'all, I just did my seeds. I think May 23rd. So just 7 to 10 days ago or whatever. So way late. I think, Joy, didn't you start a second round? Are you?
That time.
Oh, that's the plan. Well, yo, I went out there right before this live stream started, and I don't see number soil. I don't see nothing.
No,
I don't see anything at all. And let me just bring this up. So when I did the video on the rice challenge, the last step that I showed in the video was the rice sitting on top of the soupy soil. Yeah. I did go after the video was over with and cover the rice with a little soil. I just didn't do that in the video because then you wouldn't be able to see the rice grains. But I did. I covered it with soil. It is still very. It's not watery soupy, but it is very moist. It is absolutely, definitely not dried out, and it has been at least 10 or 11 days, and there is zero. There is nothing. Now I think the seed pack said. I have the seed pack right here somewhere. I believe it said 5 to 10 days is germinate. Y'all, I have something set up that I'm trying to determine whether or not I'm gonna do a video on it. It kind of goes to what Joy was saying about how you draw things out. I'll just show you this right quick. So this is just one of the things. So like I mapped it out. These are all of the seeds. These are my 6 mini raised beds, and like these are the seeds that are gonna go in a mini raised bed. So just talking about kind of like drawing it out and mapping things out. Of course, it's subject to change. But anyway, that side note, y'all, was just that I officially entered the 2025 Rice Challenge. And as of this point, about 10 or 11 days into it, I have 0 sprouting or germination. Nothing is going on. But I'm gonna leave that bucket where it is. It's in full sun. It's on my 5-gallon bucket stand. So it's in full sun, and it has light. I did put those little Dollar Tree wire baskets over it because I do have opossums and skunks that come through, and I do have birds, and I didn't want anything, maybe I need to kind of like scoop some of the soil back and see did something
Still
eat
there?
the seeds out there, yeah. But getting back to weather, because that's what we're talking about now, y'all. We're talking about gardening gripes. We talked about time first, and now we on weather. I just did a YouTube short, I believe that was Saturday, where it just thunderstormed, like poured down raining. I hurry up and did the YouTube short because I knew it wasn't gonna last long, y'all. I don't even think it lasted 10 minutes. But when I tell you it was pouring down raining, like you saw like the water in my swimming pool, it was like big, like clump drops of rain. I'm talking about storming. And in like 10 minutes, you would have never thought that it had rained on anything. But the reason why I bring that up is in my area, it is very dry most of the year. Our rain season is the very end of October, but normally like November to February is when we get rains in our area. You might get maybe 1 or 2 little drizzling rains in March, a little bit in April. You know how they say April shower bring Mayflower. It don't rain like that where I'm from. Now, I mean, it's not like, Arizona, Phoenix, Tucson dry. It's not like that. But we just don't get the rain. So to have that, matter of fact, it was May 31st. It was May 31st because I said it was the last day of May. We got that little torrential rain for about 10 minutes, and then that was it. We can reasonably not expect rain until September or October, unless there is storms usually come off the coast of Mexico. And if they come north enough and close enough to like the shore, close enough to the land mass of California, we might get some of the residual weather. But normally after February, March time frame, except for a few drizzles here and there, that's not garden worthy at all. It won't rain again until like October or November. So the weather, just the no rain for me in my area. So for a lot of people that means irrigation, which I don't have, or a sprinkler system, which I have in my front yard but I don't use. I don't have sprinkler system in the backyard, and that's where my whole garden is. So for me, it's hand watering. To me, that's so the weather is like against me as far as rain, like literally the entire growing season. That's my gripe.
Well, as far as like Ro mentioned, our nights are still chilly. Like she mentioned, like 35 degrees. That's crazy.
It is.
I was at least getting only like to 48 degrees, which I'm complaining about. But I had cucumbers out there. They do not like that at all. So they killed over.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna have to be reseeding my cucurbits. The bigger squashes, the winter squash and the summer squash, I think are gonna be okay. But yeah, you win some, you lose some. Whereas you are hurting for rain, I feel like it's a freaking tropical jungle around here sometimes because we just get rain upon rain upon rain. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it just like out of nowhere forms a mass of rain that they weren't predicting. Like in a few hours, you're wet. So for me, that has been the ground being like soupy all the time. So it's hard to keep seeds in the ground if they're washing down the driveway.
That's true. So does that mean that you like your grow stations that you have like in your basement or in, in
Yeah.
your growing space? So do you leave your plants in there longer, or like when do you take that chance of putting the plants out in the garden when you think, okay, the weather is ideal enough, the conditions are right enough to where they will be safe, or you
Just
hope
looking
they
at
will be
the
safe?
right, just looking at the 10-day forecast, it looks like the weather just broke and that we're definitely into like constant in the 60s at night, give or
Hmm.
take. So it looks like this is the week to get that stuff getting out, the tomatoes and peppers and putting out the okra. Um, I really hope so because I don't have that much time.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so it's just a matter of looking at that forecast and hoping for the best. There's always the shade cloth idea, like to protect your plants, but who the heck wants to do that?
You
It's
know
such a
what? But
hassle.
that leads us right into the next topic. So
Oh,
for
jeez.
gardening gripes, y'all, we talked about time, we talked about weather. Now we're gonna talk about structures. Any structures and materials that you use in your garden. Now, Joy started it off. She mentioned the shade cloth. Shade cloth is something that I have. I have used it in the past, but the way that I have restructured my garden, now I have to find a different method or a different way to actually place the shade cloth. I definitely need to use it because where my mini raised beds are, that's the most open space in my backyard, and it gets direct and total and complete sun all day, like from sunrise to sunset, like that particular area. And I am going to have to use shade cloth, but I have to figure out how. I built some PVC frames. So my mini raised beds are like handmade. It is those corner like the corner concrete
Mhm.
blocks that have the 4 notches in it, and then I just slide in wooden boards untreated. And I made 6 mini raised beds like that. So I built some PVC frames that I keep saying I'm gonna do this. I have to. This is the gripe, and goes with the time. And because I'm doing everything outside, it goes with the weather. So I built the PVC frames initially, maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. But I just kind of like fitted the pieces together with like the little corner, devices, but they need to be glued in place because they keep popping out. And that's why I haven't used the frames on a regular basis. Like they're sitting up there. Well, some of them I have them off to the side. Some of them are still sitting on the raised beds, but I need to glue them together. I have the glue. I bought the glue probably in like December, and it's June, and I still have not glued the PVC pieces together. So once I get the frames together, then it'll be easy for me to drape the shade cloth over the frames or clamp them to the frames. But shade cloth, I have, especially for that particular area, I have to have it.
My gripe with structures is that I never do it properly. I'm always taking like the shortcuts. So
Hmm.
some of them are like just those hoops with the wire that's like 12 gauge or 10 gauge. I'm not sure the
Oh
thickness
yeah, yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
but it's the bendable ones. And I just don't know how to put it so that the insect netting like tends to push it, like especially when it gets wet, it like brings it back down. Like I know if I put the hoops on the outside of the beds, that would help that. But then the mesh will be have more access to the critters. I would have to
So
then get like rope or something or bungee cord to tie it around so that it's super tight. Because bugs still, like, there was a hornet in there. It's like, how'd you even get
Oh
in there?
wow.
I'm
You
like,
gotta
I'm
be
leaving you.
careful. Now you can't be
I'm
messing
leaving it
around with
in
no
there.
hornets now.
I
Yeah.
left it in there. I wasn't gonna let that one go.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's like the structure is like collapsing slowly into itself, and I'm just like, oh, now I gotta do it again. Or
Hmm.
it's just like you said, you were building stuff, and I have the materials like you. I just don't have
Yeah.
the time to, to cut it up and screw it up and all this other stuff. But I like watching other people do it. It's so
Other
much
people
fun.
do it. I know. You know what? And I'm gonna tell y'all. So this is something that I do to help motivate me. So when I'm outside working, which is a main reason why I don't comment. Like I watch a lot of all of
Mm.
the gardeners videos and stuff. I don't comment a lot because a lot of times when I'm watching the videos, I'm outside working. But watching other people work in their garden motivates me to get out and work in my garden. But
Mm.
y'all, when I'm working, I'm working. I ain't got time to be, hey, how you doing? Great video. Blah. Hey, look, hey. I'm telling y'all now, everybody, you watching this live, you watching the replay, great video, outstanding
Yes.
material, pertinent topic, very relevant. Love the garden, lots of greenery growing. I'm giving you all the comments like right now because when I'm watching and I'm listening to your videos, I'm also working. But know
Mm.
that you motivating me, you're helping me to get out there, in the bushes and in the woods and
Right.
out in the open and get it done. Now, I want to go back to something that David said.
Yeah.
I was saying that I make my raised beds out of wood, and he said, try not to use wood. It breaks down fast unless it's pine or cedar. But even that
Mm.
breaks down faster than metal beds. 100% correct. But David,
Yeah.
your girl broke. Your girl is broke. I like DIY. I like making things with my
Mm.
hands.
Yeah.
And one thing that I use to help my raised beds last a little bit longer, even using wood, is that on the inside of the raised bed, at least the sides, because that's where I have. So the sides are the wood pieces. I have them sitting on plastic yellow pallets. The bottom is lined with landscaping fabric, which still lets moisture and everything kind of go through the bed down the plastic because the pallets have holes and spaces in them too. So the raised beds don't get waterlogged, so it lets oxygen and everything flow through water, materials, all that kind of stuff. But the sides where the wood is, I line that with contractor trash bags,
Mm.
so the inside of the wood does not get touched by the water or the soil. Now the outside, yeah, I mean, it's still exposed to the elements for the most part, but the inside where it'll have the most contact with the soil, the water, the whatever, this and that, I have that line with the contractor plastic bags. And then some people say, oh, but the plastic is going to break down and all of your produce is going to be full of plastic. The size of the plastic particles is too big for the plants to take up in their like stems and leaves and stuff. The plants are not eating the plastic. Now, by the time the plastic break down into like microplastics, that'll be small enough for the plants to even, rate y'all. Jesus gonna be and came back. Like the garden, like that. That raised bed is gonna be like the last thing on anybody's mind. Um, but with that being said, and to David Corey's point, I do have one 6x2 raised bed. I call it Aunt Jerry's garden. It's in remembrance of my Aunt Geraldine, who is no longer with us, but she's always with me. That raised bed is a 6x2. It's wood. That raised bed, I have been doing my research on replacing that with a metal raised bed of the same, 6x2. I can't have it come out too much more because if it's 3 feet, then it's too far into like the walkway because my apple tree is right there and it'll, I wouldn't have any room to walk. So, David Corey, to your point, and I'm still doing my research, I got to check a sale. I need a coupon code. It got to be clearance. It got to be like last year's model. We I gotta be able to afford it. But that is one area where I am specifically looking at, doing a metal raised bed.
Oh, speaking of sales, Botanical Interest is having some. So I don't know if the beds are also part of that sale. I think today's the
You know
last
what?
day.
I need to look at that because they did have 50% off a select
Yeah,
seeds of
right.
the seeds. I missed a raised bed sale.
Yeah, they did
I
have
think
one.
in April or something. I,
Mhm.
I missed the sale, but I know it's gonna come back
Yeah.
around. I'm not really in a rush to do it. However, if I could get that metal raised bed now, I could switch it out before I
Oh,
start
you plant into it.
planting the stuff in, because once
Right.
I start sowing and putting the plants and stuff in there, I'm not gonna switch it out. But this is what I want to try to do. That soil is very in the
Yeah.
frame of this raised bed. What I'm thinking that I can do, y'all, I'm thinking, and it might be possible, is
Uh-oh.
to disassemble the bed, like pull out the 6x2s. The soil will still hold the shape of the bed
Mhm.
that it's in. Not too much of it is gonna crumble and fall. And I'm
Right.
thinking I could just slide that 6x2 metal raised bed, y'all, right over that soil for the most part. Now,
Oh,
I might have a little bit that, slide down or come apart or whatever, but that's what I'm thinking that I can do. If I can do that, y'all,
that'd
look,
be.
and I say I like I'm doing it myself. No, my little helpers, my little helper, y'all. But I've been doing push-ups though, your girl. I'm trying to get it in there. But I am looking at that. I would like to do it now. If I don't catch a sale, y'all, it ain't happening. But I
Mhm.
don't mind buying it and then saving it, for a later time. I just got to get it
Eh,
when it's on sale.
right.
So,
And
mhm.
shout out to GT Junior Girls in Alaska. He's driving and listening. So since he can't see us
What's
typing
up? See,
away.
talking about being allergic to cold weather. GT, you must have heard us. You must have heard us talk about cold weather. You must have heard me. You must have heard me saying it. I know you
Oh.
can't type too much, but if you get at like a railroad crossing, like if you catch the train, or if you get a red light and you like the fifth car in the back, if you want to go ahead and I'm just, but not, no, because I don't want you to break no laws. I don't want you to get no ticket because I can't pay for it. But
He's good.
we
He's good.
definitely appreciate you. We definitely appreciate you being here. David says, look into Trammell Raised Bed Company. That is a name that I have. I said, not David. Talking about, let me see your muscle again. Now you,
No,
now you know.
it's not that kind of
It
channel.
wasn't really there. I should have had a long sleeve shirt on. But y'all look, I'm getting there. Y'all, the health and wellness, the plan and stuff like that, y'all, is coming along. It's coming along. But Joy, so let me go back now. Let's review. Y'all, we talking about gardening gripes. Everybody have something. Whoever out there had the perfect garden, everything
Raise
is
your hand.
100% perfect. You was perfectly on time. Your weather was perfect. Your structures was perfect. You have like a jungle of green growth and ain't nothing going on. I want you to type it in there. Let me know your channel. I want to see the video. And you know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
need
I need an airplane
everybody.
ticket to that
Yeah,
Garden of Eden
for
because
real. Yeah.
that's where I want to be.
So I'm saying this is my opinion. I'm saying everybody has a gardening gripe. And the next thing we're gonna talk about, pests and diseases.
Yeah.
Gardening gripes for pests and diseases. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. All right, Joy, start us off.
So hopefully you did get your structures up, so you have less of this problem. But let's see, what have I gotten so far? I'm starting to lose my strawberries. The rabbit, there's a rabbit that's brazen enough that the dog is not doggy enough because she's busy, at the top of the hill and the rabbit's at the bottom of the hill. So the rabbit's like, yum, yum, yum. Let me take some nibbles of these strawberries. Perfectly ripe instead of
Mm-hmm.
instead of Joy getting it. So yeah, I've lost a few of those already. So I've had to buy some more structures to cover just strawberries because I can't. It's like in a position where I can't really build a whole thing around it because there's other things abutting it, and it's just a mess of a space. So it's like I really got to protect individual strawberry plants versus the whole area, and I
Now,
have strawberries all over the place.
That's what I was gonna say. So are your strawberries in the ground or are they in containers?
Both. I do have. I originally had them in containers, but some escaped, as they do, and so now they're in the ground. And the ones in the ground are doing really well. They have really nice like fruit on them. So with that, I have more problems with the. Oddly, I haven't seen us. Oh, I'm probably gonna kill.
Don't say it. Like type it in the chat, but don't say it out loud. Because if you say it out loud,
exactly. But I've had less of the S word as far as pest is concerned. There's two kinds: the ones with a shell and the one without. So I haven't seen too many of them so far. But the season's still early. It's the chill of the weather, I think, has helped like slow them down a bit. So now that we're starting to get into the summer mode, I'm going to start seeing them, but that's another big one. I have a boatload of basil this year and also marigolds. So I'm going to be very intentional and interplanting those with my tomatoes to deter the, what is it called? The caterpillar that eats tomatoes, the hornworm.
Oh, the tomato hornworm.
Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but not too bad. It's usually just one or two, but I've had other years where there were more. So we'll see how this year pans out. That's one of those other pests I have. So main ones are squirrels, chipmunks, and then all the other little ones. Hopefully I've caged my brassicas enough so that I won't have the cabbage moth, which is huge. But okay, I'm done.
You're done. Let me see. So Chris says, with the exception of my mustard greens, the insects have been fair with me. As for other pests, I have a few cats working for free.
Oh, nice. Yes. I need me some cats too.
Now, but so are your cats taking care of the pest, or are your cats also, or the cats trampling in the garden? Because the
are
cats,
they the pest?
they can be the pest too. They can be the pest. So
the dog. Yes, you're saying with the cats, the dog can be a pest as well because she's like trampled my fences down because she wants to get the bug, the pest, the mice, whatever that's inside the fence. So she's just
I saw when you were the video when you were planting your berries or whatever, you were like, oh yeah, I gotta make sure I put the fence around, or you had berries or some trees that you were planting. You was like, I gotta put the fence around because if I don't, the dog will get in there.
Yep.
And she just loved your garden though, because she is all over everywhere. She loved your garden, but at least she is a pet pest that you can completely control.
Right.
So for me, I will say the joke is on the pest this year because I ain't only got nothing planted. Well, that's how I kind of been getting over it, y'all. I ain't got nothing. You want to control pests, don't plant nothing. So, but I will tell you this. So earlier this year, I planted my elephant garlic way late. I didn't plant the cloves until January. I ended up having to pull them in May, like the beginning to the middle of May, which is definitely not enough time, for them to get full grown. And we talking about elephant garlic, so they're supposed to be big. But the black aphids, specifically the black aphids, y'all, when I tell you, I came outside and like all of the green tops, they was all black. I was like, hold on, when I tell you full of aphids, full of aphids. So I ended up having to pull my elephant garlic early, y'all. They smaller than regular garlic, but I'm gonna salvage what I can, and I'm gonna salvage what I can. I put the elephant garlic in a different mini raised bed, trying not to plant the same thing in the same place, which to me, when you're doing small raised beds like I am, and you're doing containers, 5-gallon buckets, 15-gallon planters, crop rotation, as you might call it, to me is less of a concern because I'm growing in such small places, and I can just the buckets, I can just move them around. The mini raised beds, they're so small where I can just refresh the entire bed of soil if I wanted to. So I don't really concern myself with crop rotation. I know that's like a big thing, but I just don't do it just because of the makeup of my garden. But the black aphids got my elephant garlic, even though I did put them in a different raised bed this time. I'm having some attacks on my fruit trees, and I think that was you grow Rose said something about um protecting her fruit trees and stuff like that. So I have I get well because it is pest slash disease. So I have peach leaf curl on my Spice Z nectar plum. I don't think I have it on my August Pride peach tree, but I definitely have it on the nectar plum. Now, this is a disease that has to be treated in the dormant season. So I have to wait for this season to go through. I have a lot of nectar plums um on the tree, and my understanding is that the fruit will be fine unless I see them, if the fruit just look like Frankenstein's monster or something. I mean, obviously I'm not going to eat it, but the fruit for the most part look fine. It's just that I can see on the leaves the peach leaf curl, and I already have a plan for that. Like I said, I have to wait for the dormant season. My citrus fruit, if you remember my pink lemonade lemon tree and the more blood orange tree, which is right behind it, both in containers. This is a row of fruit trees I have in between my many raised beds. Those two trees, just if they weren't about to die, like I'm not sitting here doing this live stream. I use the IV Organics like tree protecting spray. I use the spray form because I have the can, with the powder and all that kind of stuff. Y'all, I still have not mixed it up. Time, y'all. Time. Um, but I used the spray and it made a miraculous difference in both of those trees. However, it is definitely time. It was not a complete solution because I didn't follow up. And now I'm starting to see some of the same issues with those trees that I saw in the beginning. And they are very small little pest bugs that are just sucking the essence from out of the trees. So it's causing deformities in the leaves, it's causing the branches to dry out and die, like these little bugs. But the IV Organics treatment in a spray form, the liquid spray form, it has a positive effect on it. So I'm gonna do that again. Also, I think with my first round of seedlings, the seeds that I sowed, I saw either, I don't know if it was white flies, but I did see like some kind of gnat fly kind of thing like flying around. And again, remember, I do everything outside. When I had them in the little greenhouse, little makeshift, the little cheap plastic greenhouse from Home Depot. When I had them inside the greenhouse, they were doing well. As soon as I took them out the greenhouse to give them more sun and to give them, just more of being outside, I wouldn't necessarily call it hardening off. Because I do everything outside. So the hardening off is literally from the time I put the seed in the soil to the time I harvest. Um, I believe it was either that, some kind of small fly or gnat. Also, what I think happened was the soil that I up potted some of them in, it did have the Dr. Ertz triple two fertilizer in it. And maybe I put too much. I didn't think I put that much, but I put too much. Anyway, that soil wasn't for the up pot. That soil was for something else, but I mistakenly used the wrong soil. So that's not a pest or disease, but over fertilization will burn and kill your seedlings.
Right.
So that's a gripe. Be knowledgeable, know what you're doing. More is not always better, and you don't always need a lot of something or a little of everything. You don't have to amend your soil with everything that you see on TV with
That's so
everything you see other YouTubers using in their gardens. Do a soil test. That'll tell you what you need. So you're not just, throwing the kitchen sink like you seasoning some food, just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, some of this, some of that, some of this. And you will see healthy seedlings, pretty much die
Mhm.
with that. So the pest, not so much for me this year because I don't have a lot of stuff growing, but I got to pay attention to my fruit trees. I do have some things going on. And like I said, those black aphids, y'all, and I have every color aphid. I have black ones, I got white ones, I have green ones, I have red ones. I believe I have yellow ones, and they all seem to attack a different
Mhm.
type plant or crop.
Right.
And those ants,
Ah,
ants,
yes, ants.
y'all, the ants, because the ants farm the aphids.
Mhm,
The ants
mhm,
will actually protect aphids from beneficial predators that
mhm.
would normally kill the aphids. Because I do have ladybugs. I've been seeing ladybugs. That's how I know also that I have aphids in those
Right.
fruit trees. But the ants will protect
Yeah.
the aphids. So get rid of the ants. That'll help the beneficials to come in and get rid of the aphids. Y'all, shout
Right.
out to the beneficial predators in the garden. They are not all pests.
Right.
Some of them they help you. So
Just rounding out the pest disease talk, I forgot, and fruit trees. I have the apples, and they're being attacked by spongy moths, and I'm trying to get spray on that tree, but it keeps raining, so I can't do that. And then I had this like you can use a milk spray for rust because my hollyhocks are the first plants to get attacked by rust in the season.
uh,
So I let some sour milk go sour. Well, I had let some milk go sour. So now
mm-hmm.
it's over sour because I can't get out there and spray because it keeps raining.
But can you just like further dilute it? Like if it's more sour than when it's supposed to be, can you
Oh
just put
yeah,
like a
yeah.
little bit more water and try?
Right.
Because we don't want to throw it away now. We waste not,
Exactly.
want not. Like we gonna use that sour milk now.
Exactly. But it's just like, oh, give me a break already. It's like trying to help everybody here. Ah!
Chris,
Let's
say
see.
I
We
got the
got
United Colors of Benetton aphid. I do. I do. You ain't never lying. I do. And I'm gonna tell you, remember I told y'all 2022 weather condition was the change for my entire garden. 2022 was when we had the remnants of Hurricane Hillary that came through in my area in Southern California, and it dumped a massive amount of water and rain, and we had wet conditions that was not normal for that time of year. It was overcast, damp, it was cooler. Y'all, those aphids came in 2022 and they have never left. They have never left. And I'm trying different things, some DIY things, some homemade concoctions, some natural or organic things that I have purchased from the store. I have synthetic pesticides, but I have not used them yet. Y'all, I don't want to, but I'm gonna say this: there is a place, because y'all, we got to talk about solutions. We got to talk about solutions for the pest and the pest and the diseases and stuff. I believe that there is a place for synthetic chemical solutions. It's up to you whether or not you want to use them, but I'm not going to completely 100% bash and trash those type products, because let's just say, like in Joy's case, where she is growing for profit, right? Whether it's just to pay like the telephone bill or whether it's to pay the rent, she's growing for profit. So if she has a condition where a particular pest, for whatever reason, it's just like taking over, you done sprinkled the cinnamon, you done tried the cayenne pepper, you done used the Dawn dishwashing you done used Castile soap, you done, vegetable oil and curry powder, you done did all of that and it didn't work. In order to save her investment and her income, maybe, and not saying that she is, but maybe she would get to the point where, hey, I need to try this synthetic solution, that could possibly help me, because I tried everything else. It didn't work. I see my money going down the drain, and the rent is due on the 1st. So I'm just saying, like, I am personally a firm believer in, if not organic, natural, and just the least synthetic solutions possible, y'all. But sometimes, what I'm saying, it is what it is. So I'm not gonna hate, I'm not gonna demonize, I'm not gonna do that.
Right. Yep, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, so we're at the hour. I don't want to push us too far because I know he's always rushing out at the end of the
Girl, because I be somewhere like right before, like sometime I'm running in the door, and then after I'm doing. But I really enjoy doing this live stream. It is a highlight of my every other Mondays. I really enjoy it, but but your girl got a schedule. We talked about time.
Exactly.
And I talked about, improving my time management and stuff like that. Sometimes I could squeeze in, an extra few minutes, but sometimes y'all like be having to cut it.
So to be mindful that venting is healthy.
Yes.
It is a good way to relieve your stress. So if you got to do it on a chat, the community chat, the gardening community, it's wonderful. Most of them, you will find friends there and comrades, and they will listen to you and help you out. Or if you got your partner, your neighbor, somebody who you garden with, it's okay to let it out. Because like last year, it must have been like maybe mid-July or end of July, and I just broke down in tears to my husband because it was one of the days where I had one too many like rabbit situations, and I was just like, why am I doing this? It's so hard. It's just like a mess. But afterwards you feel better. You cathartic, whatever.
And like Joy said, I'm so thankful that we do have this online community where you can come out and share your less than magazine home and garden, situations. Y'all, you need somewhere to do that. And it's a relief to share with people who they understand. Y'all know what I'm talking about. When I talk about all, the United Nations of aphids, you know what I'm talking about. Even if you yourself don't have any aphids, or maybe you only got 1 or 2 colors, you know what I mean when I say, man, these aphids, to where if I was, talking to somebody maybe that's not into gardening, doesn't garden or whatever, they might not, they might not understand. But it feels good to be able to come out and share the good, the bad, and everything in between, and not be like judged or criticized. Positive criticism, or recommendations or suggestions, for me, always welcome, because I don't know everything. I've been gardening for y'all a long time, and I have been gardening many places all around. I'm still learning. I'm still putting into practice new ideas and new perspective that I have gained from other people, and I really enjoy it. What I don't enjoy, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, is people who come on the scene and just know everything about everything. And if you don't do it the exact, only and specific way that they say, then you are less than. I don't agree with that. I haven't had that on any of my live streams, or any of my videos, or in the comment section or whatever. I haven't had that, but I'm telling you, if it ever occur, it gonna be shut down quicker than immediately. I'm not tolerating that mess. That's a gripe. That's a gardening gripe. Don't come on my now, even though we on Joy channel, so I need to bring it down a little bit, but don't come on my channel like you know everything. Just don't even come. Don't come. You ain't got a thumbs down. You just unsubscribe. Right. Don't come on my channel like that, because I don't have any room for you. I just, I don't. We all learning, we all growing, we all sharing, and none of us, I don't care who you are, none of us know everything. But the community that we have, and I'm only on YouTube. I know Joy, let us know you also on, some other platforms. So I can only speak for YouTube. I can only speak for YouTube, but there are so many, a garden channel, so many people that share so many different, perspectives and stuff. I feel, I feel really good about the gardening community that we have on YouTube. Everybody have their own, little personalities and this and that. But for the most part, I feel very good and very welcomed and comfortable in the YouTube garden community.
All right. And on that gripe, I hope you feel better.
Oh yeah. I mean, but that's a gardening gripe. And I don't really say it too much because I just try to see when you don't feed the beast, sometimes the beast just go away, on its own. But that's a gardening gripe. So I went ahead and put it out there.
All right. Since you put it out there, my last gardening gripe that I wrote, which you can't see, but it said, sorry. It's for the people, the content creators that share, but they're always apologizing for, the state of their, what it looks like or how it, like the holes or the trash or the whatever. It's like, don't say sorry. We appreciate that you have holes in your plants and that you have garbage on the corner.
Yeah.
No need to apologize. Just share it. We love you for it. And we love all of you in the chat, and we love the replay people. And like before, like, share, comment, subscribe. And any last words? You good?
No, I'm good. Look, David said a glass of wine will ease the pain. That's true.
That's true.
That's Wine Down Wednesdays with
exactly.
with Nikki and Stacy and
Bougie. Yes. Yep.
Y'all check out a lot of the gardening channels and groups and stuff. A lot of live streams going on. A lot of kind of like consistently scheduled TNOG, on what's that, Sundays and Tuesdays, I believe. And, just a lot of other channels. I don't, I shouldn't even say no names because I'm going to miss a lot of, even though I got like a lot of names in my head, I don't know their exact schedule, but y'all check everybody out. It's good information. You keep what's beneficial to you, and then the rest of it, you just let it go to somebody else, who that information will help them. So,
right. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Wait, Joy, you got to sign off. You got to. No, I done messed it up. I'm sorry.
I gotta just have a nicer way of ending it. But as usual, I'll talk to you all again soon. So well, harvest more. Bye. Bye. How do you end this thing?
You can do it.